The just to tell you the story, he was telling a story that they had a protest against the Chinese, where they were fasting and not eating for days, with the idea to even die for the protest. But then in the end, the police came and stopped it. So, and since then, the topic suicide came up more often, and I was wondering about the Buddhist view on suicide. Would that have been counted as suicide? What kind of karma does suicide create? What happens when you kill yourself?
Yeah, Tachita Ani, non chu Ganglia, Di Ganglia, Doa Nalia, Chitanga to Socheva, Chena Pemba says, Trabaina Traba with Dumba Shundria, Shamba said, Dona, Di Gangla Kachayori, Tai, Di Kalu Tiva Kaleri, so Sena, Kachagari, Sitiva Dioris.
Yeah, so usually in Buddhism, in the Vinaya, which is the where it's explained the vows of the monastic community, it talks about killing other sentient beings as a way to lose your vows, to lose you being a monk. But then it comes the question, there is the question, what happens? What is the rule towards killing yourself? That's a question in Buddhism.
Geshe Kabli, Ane, Susu Segantana, Sinketan, Seanigati, Susuri.
Yes, so when you kill yourself, the killer, the person doing the act is yourself, and the thing being killed is also yourself. They're the same object.
Yeah. Te Kabli, Ane, Chitani Domba Toyalia, Jura Chikche, Muichi, Juk Sim Sanko. Jura, Muiju, Juk. This some got Sango, and you want to be Bakanijina, young Jixon in Sango.
So in this text in the Vinaya, in order for you to lose your vows, it needs to be complete the preparation.
Preparation,
so you need to have the preparation. I guess you can translate like this. You need to have complete the preparation, the act itself, and the ending, the ending. So these three need to be complete. And also when you talk about doing any negativity, you also talk in terms of these three parts. Yeah, when we talk about accumulating negative karma, these three also, they must complete the preparation, the actual act, and the ending.
Yeah.
So talking about suicide, you have the preparation, you have this beginning. And the actual act also is complete.
But
between the actual act and the ending of the act, then there is no more human being here. So the third one is not complete. So usually, for example, when we practice a virtue, the preparation is having the good motivation, is having the thought to engage in this practice. The second one, the actual act, is actually doing the virtuous action. And the third one is, it can be dedication, if you dedicate your merits, or also just thinking, rejoicing in the act, or feeling that it was a good thing that you have done, or having a reaction towards the act. So your question, if you kill yourself, what this becomes a suicide?
They can and Cheton Dugba Yoresina Lekate Yawa Shiresana Yawachi Mare. In a Domba Chawa de Yapo Mares, Chawa de Digba Sinata, Digba Chiunguchani, Domba Ton, Domba Susu, Domba Ton to Resena, and it is Domba Tungumare life.
Mares.
Tungumare.
Young Sunday, Chawa de
Cheton Chawa Yapochi Marwa, Chawa de Taina, Kolunga Chanin, Metan Lokare, Kolumia, Taina, Tanda Danashin Koranchivati, Susu Sentona, and Domba. Domba sure said.
So in general, in brief, in general, it's not seen as a good act, the act of suicide. It depends also. It can depend on the motivation. So depending on this preparation part of the motivation, you can explain in different ways. Regarding this of losing the vows, it said you don't lose your vows by this act.
Yeah.
Because these 3 acts, they're not complete. So you don't lose your vows.
Is it clear? I know.
Yeah. I was thinking like what I've learned in the dying retreat I did in May was that it's important in which state of mind we are dying. And that has a lot to do with our next rebirth. Like if we are really angry when we die, we might propel a special negative karma or something. And I was just thinking that in the most cases, when we kill ourselves, we are not in a positive mindset. Like maybe your case would have been different, but I think normally when people kill themselves, they're not in a good mindset. So I was wondering how this influences, because it's also like killing and violence, but it's against yourself, not against others. So how is that counted? Is it different? Is it the same?
It's the same.
Yeah, totally.
Machine ni ngana ski sempa netang pe kyo chen boyre sakti nam tok mon boyona yana pe to point ha ni ngana ski kyo chma yong ya foto ke mare ngana sarang shikyana nam yung ngana kri sempa pe nam tok pe chen boyre ro en chna kirangi netang mito insare
te tembare tanda ta ngole ya so konong chane ti kable yang getsa ti ba konong ti cha Tini kable yang di pamambu sagari joi kable. Ina yang ti kable yang tanda korang so se ane ekata tanda cheo marwa. Ina preparation chi kable. Ti kable di pamambu sagari kolon ti chaya na ti baris. So e chik ni so se indi chawa de ti yang so ngaso lili yang chik namji linga yusum ge joba se shi ti yang li gane ni chawa Pacha Yapoja Mares, Pacha the Jashti. Then it's a low.
Kariana.
Canon Carina, Lecate Yapoja, Javati. Tian take on lower.
Yeah, it's true that in this phase of the preparation, when you're preparing the act, then usually you can carry a lot of negative motivations, negative thoughts, and during this you're accumulating negativities. And also during the act of killing, the act of suicide, also you leave bad imprints in the mind, negative imprints in the mind, independent of your motivation before. Even if you had a positive motivation before, the act itself is considered to be negative. This second part, right? The act itself, the actual action.
Killing is naturally negative.
Yeah, so leave on each
Yeah, the act of the body here, the act of the body, yeah, it's considered to be negative, yes.
Yeah, but the answer so chick the number that organization of Mahavale, so leave Pacha, Pichashaya.
Yeah, this act of the body, explained in the Buddhist way, leaves negative imprints that will manifest in your body. Yeah, Pacha.
Okay, Tini, that
okay.
Yeah, ane tiri matsu ta chi de tsando sum chi she na sam ba shi chong ro tang bo de ta nam bi nga so chi so reva de ja shung ro ta da di gang reva chi Reva Shik Chimbo Chia, Takantra Mi Susuk, Reva Shirata, Rindo Zet, Kanish. Do you want to let Pinkasito Nukaji, Essential?
So today I thought about talking to you about three things, mainly three things. The first one I thought is about expectations, about high expectations, low expectations, how expectations can benefit us, harm us. This is the first thing.
The
second one is when we meet with problems.
I
thought to talk to about when we face problems, how can we react to these problems? Usually in Buddhism there are a vast amount of methods, of ways to deal with problems, but I wanted to talk today about easy ways, very practical ways to deal with the problems.
Tadini Tamataleya, Tatindi Chik, Gangaji, and Chicks, Thealea, Gangari Karina, Tamasuchi, Tindiji Chik, Chomalea, Ane Tangarsolea Chik, Mamboji, Susu, Samlo Vichani, Samlo Nepapte, Jogoshucha, Chik, Samlo Be, Seorishto, Counter, Susu, Samlo Tancho, Tindigani Bay, Susu Simshing Roma Chadre, Susu Bay Chikarena, Bay Chili Gani, Linga Yusum Bay Jogondocha. That day I am searching career. So Sancho Chamari, inner power to ya. In strength.
It can get to do.
What they got Nambita of Garnison, and Sunam with Sotishi, so Nik. That they garning also condition is society. Yeah, and Sosolia. But weakness near Torgo in the comment. That's also Semba Gangaji too, Ganga set on the Rosaro, Ganga to Dindi, John Gilia, Matsola Carchon, Samba Bay, Soso Bay. Some no Nepa Kuchan, pay lower chan, Yogacha. That Yalia Carcores. Made Zani, Mazo some lawyer Yari to tomorrow. I got a number on it, Tatele, Chosa,
So, and the third thing I want to say is, after we have faced with problems, after we meet with the suffering, it can be very common for our minds to become very, very, how do I say, for our minds to become low, like to lose our inner strength. So I also wanted to say how Buddhism approaches improving our inner strength. And in this third point, we're going to talk about the accumulation of merits, and accumulation of wisdom.
Tayana, Daki Gona Masushi Tsari, Dendro, Masu Chile Kari, Joa Kanji Zumna, Yawicha, Divicha Karzumna, Tambo Joa, Mondo, Dick Mondo, Givi Chawa Chene, Molia, Konoya, which Chukuri is here. Tati Konochu at Sabdo, the Masuki, Tambo Jamdo Colas, come to the Sabata, Niba Sim Chinjo. In a chat, the name of the Mandana, the tail.
But before this, as we were talking before, as with any action, it's very important the preparation, and this preparation is related to our motivation. So it's very important for us to give rise to a good motivation towards a virtuous side. And for this, before the class today, if we can think now about refuge and about mind generation, about bodhicitta, that would be very good.
Tatelia, the Yontraki, any Tinichisholoka chicks, and now the Katina, number 6
We're going now to recite this very famous prayer. Probably most of you know it.
Oh, yeah, the only. Ane Sanje Chodan, Soji Chonamala, Chancho Parker, Dani, Joseph. Dagi Jason, Jibi, Sonam J, Dola Punch, Sanji, Robrish. Sanje Chodan, Soji Chonamala, Chancho Parker, Dani, Dajin Jason, Jibi, Sonam J, Dola Punch, Sanji, Sanje Chodan, Soji Chonamala, Chancho Parker, Dani, Joseph. 다신 교수 집에 소남지 돌아 선진저 버셔 어다티 디콜에 뚜뚜식 지종나 담보 즉 담보 니디야 겸저세야시 겸저디 직 숨고요래 선지에서 갑라 돈바 코랑기 직다 맞아 같이 사는 당도도 디고 방고 그죠 아니 주세요 대 달마티치 맞나기 얘네 초남라세야디 아니 게네 콘초세 겸스 디가지 직체 텔레야다 직 수수 단디 네범니 송데 수수 직 상제의 데 말레 파티야 다 도다나 코란 소 람도 컨디션나 야셔 자담바티가 수수 공바르시마스 여위세 데
So just to explain a little bit about this prayer that we did. So the first two verses, they're about refuge. For you who know it in English also the verses. So towards the Buddha, who is our teacher, the Dharma, the teachings of the Buddha, and the Sangha, which are the community. The community. So basically the meaning here is saying that from our situation right now, the place we are right now, until the time that we become an object of refuge ourselves, until the time we become a Buddha, we trust this object of refuge, and this means that we'll try 100% to follow their advices. That's the promise we make in these verses.
Yeah. Tadini nibade, ane tajik dagi yunso jibi zonam jisi. Ta dagi siade ikable ya sablatani ka da chibu mayimba kapte tele da sok siya jatona ma chibu mayimba ngaso siya. Ngaso siya wali di kurno nyamde ya ma chibu mayimba tapi senche tamche nyamde yo sabsa.
And in the third verse, when it starts about bodhicitta, it starts with daggi. Dag means I in Tibetan, and gi means that you're going to do something. But here we shouldn't think just about me, but also bringing together all sentient beings by our action. Yeah, bringing more sentient beings, all sentient beings to mind.
Dagi jinso se ta jimba la soba, parchin tik la soba. Pandodana soso leka yapo shimsena karcheyo na chik soso leka yapo mambo cheyo na so so tsama de shenpa ne chit yin samba kru ki ko shen senje dola panji sanjin ruya senje tamje sanjin ruya wi chit ta de ya soso de kru ki ko.
Yeah, so the meaning here says me, and in Dagi here we can bring to mind all sentient beings, and through our practice Phuntsok, through our practices of the perfection of generosity and the other perfections, which we can understand as any good thing that we do, all the good actions we do in our life, may the result of all of this, we only do all of this for the benefit of others, so others can become enlightened, can become Buddhas here. That's the meaning of the prayer.
Yeah.
And why is refuge and bodhicitta important? So it's important, something that we have talked previously, that the objects, the people to whom we do negativities, we do bad actions, there are only two categories. There are the objects of refuge and the sentient beings. So if you want to purify these negativities, we need to bring them to mind. For example, if we do something bad towards someone, we need to go to this person and say sorry to this person, not to someone else. Yeah.
Kenge mamboshi matsu so reva se Tsering Tatashi Reva Tsering Reva Tsering Tatashi Gemato Digan Gangan Mambushi the Manchu Digan Chontiashi.
Okay, so first of all, in this 1 hour that we have here to stay in this class, try to make this meaningful in some way through your motivation, and going to what we discussed before, we were talking before. When many problems in our life, they come because we are not able to put the correct give a correct size to our expectations.
Yeah. Tainan chicken chivachi tina ngasochi. Tanto dana so muindo kare, metsiti mui kare, reva kare siati. Chivachi tiona namsa, tap de water lagre matse, metsig nimbondo, metsig mui kare asane, dichiris, tap de wish, layat petap de masilagres.
If we ask ourselves, or if someone else asks us, what is the meaning of your life, or what is the objective, actually, not the meaning, sorry. What is the objective of your life? For many people, it can be very easy to say, it comes very easy to demand happiness. That's our aspiration, our expectation, our desire, our goal, happiness.
Tatere dena revate so kipoda, de woyama chiti in Bachasha. Now, chosen in the Sablochicana and Sambonishi. Churan Metsi Giadi, the Chikichit Girisana. There, the Chisoya, Giadi Karichit Giris, Tonda, Tivati Remonation, Churan Metsi Tonda Kare, Metsi Kuba Karism, Churan Kiego Jinsa Karis, Chicken de Gana, Susu Yongwa, Susu Zambuli Gana, Lea, the Karichit Lansana, Naran de Chikichit, the Chikichit, the Chit Lansana.
From one side, it's true. Most of our aspirations, our desires, our expectations, they are directed towards having happiness, for us to have happiness. If you look from another side, when we ask ourselves, what is the objective of our lives? This is similar to asking, what is the purpose of your life? Why are you born on this earth? Why did you come to this earth? And if we think in this way, and if you reply that it's for our happiness, in order for us to be happy, it sounds a bit off, maybe.
Yeah, that's the way of Taina counter, tanto dana salo cartangore. Doyati ditching the way or Tataran, the Rivatiri. Rivati in a so lega, Lenata. No Johnson and Karina, they want with Tamlam Rota, they had the young chit. Three in teach it in a like a Carolina, on each and a bear, so gash situation. Young gory.
If we think that okay, that's what we want. We want to be happy. And if we think that everything that we are doing is to bring us happiness, so anytime that we do something, anytime we do anything, for example, studying, working, etc., we should approach these activities with extreme joy, because this is accomplishing the goal we want. This is bringing us happiness. That's why we're doing these things.
They so doing it like a chew. But they so nobody comes so like a chew. They are nothing.
So just like this, if you're doing all these actions in life in order to bring you happiness, so because through these actions you're gonna get happiness, you should involve with them with great joy.
So
that's something that Shantideva says in Engaging the Bodhisattva Deeds.
Devan Kari, Dinga Tunda Singing, Dinga Jula Mongrichi. Dinga could you to a mother, David you to a mother. The other Devache, Jyoti Dima Kujutu.
Yeah, so Shantideva says that even though everything we do is towards happiness, wanting happiness, we run towards suffering all the time. And yes, and even though we want to avoid suffering, we create the causes of suffering.
Yeah. That chik sabla chik hartang kundi masu revate sosogu ani devando atishi atichi bachasu. Ta dechi de sosogu ani doba reva mani ta chik harchagdu sena. Samsam masu tingo zengo ma tangoni na tandani sosogu dechi tandani ngonchik toku yor. Sosogu deva yoga nashing dechi de tandani tsorgu yor. Sosogu leka kara chena sosogu tachimoni 소설에 아니 대화 용도 같이 지고니 대제세한테 마음바시 로 마음바시 지는 같이 대사로다 단다 바타만디와 장제선다 대배 강에 단는 원이 말이 소설이 지내 같이 가리나 참마 소설 대화 용어 답시 대인삼하고 삼로연은 런싱가 강에 마음바시 총례도 그러
So something we have to recognize that we want happiness and we do things in order to achieve happiness. But it's also important to recognize that doing things that in order to bring us happiness, we should have a feeling, we should experience happiness at the very outset, in the very beginning, not thinking that happiness is something to be achieved in the future, many years from now. If we're engaging in actions that will bring us happiness, we should have joy doing these actions from the beginning.
Yeah, 단단한 소설 메시지 님은 단단한 거래 단단한 소설을 되게 같이 요하데 철고도 소설이야. 님은 소설이 니마치리야. 소설이 기본 같이 요하데 소설 완전체. 된저 어디 원진체 토나?
그림 원진체 근데 기 같이요.
배는 니마치 소설이야. 단단히 법으로 있는 소설 즉 그 기포 최고 배 망보시오 소설 단다. 내법이 약보인 바 망보시오.
그렇습니다.
된나 약보인 바도 뭐 맞으니 단단 것은 리와치 뭐 텔레 스테이션 치트 리와치 치트. 리와치 치트. 대 초요마다.
Okay, so it's important for us to recognize if we want happiness, and we do want happiness. If we want happiness, it's important to recognize the happiness that we already have in our lives, the good things that are already present in our lives, and enjoy them and enjoy the happiness they bring them. Because many times it can happen that because of not recognizing properly this happiness, we create more and more expectations for the future, and we are not able to enjoy the good things we have already in this very day.
Yeah, 대용이 단도다나 대내 직 같이 그러면서 다 병난 수정이요 나래 마음보시기 가래 생각들 미망부터 갈라서 다 인직 다 직전에 공산 조금 빼 마음보 송들이 인생 근데 도드나 직 정축 심거나 동반이 뒤니스 대용이 다 동반이 걸 시고 정축 심 대마도 샴바 직 갈로 람사 수수야 총장의 장 대시도 다 띵원이 전에 뒤니데 빼 띵빼 조시빼 통보래 조시빼 남자 방법인 좀 이런 제야시 말해 다 거기네 거짓말 치는 공부를 치는 조고야시 대용디 디소튼두지나 남사들이 연나 다와 가시시나 나빠 대야고 차고세나 다대 가버래.
For example, something that I have met with many times here. For example, His Holiness, he constantly tells us bodhicitta, emptiness. These are the two most important things in life, in Dharma practice. And many people, they get the feeling that, okay, apart from bodhicitta, emptiness, nothing else is necessary. But also, bodhicitta and emptiness, these two things, these two main topics, they are extremely high practices. If you look at them, they're very very high practices. And it's very hard for them to directly enter sincerely into our minds. So before this, there are steps, there is a lot to be done, but we have the tendency to want to jump. We want to jump because we have high expectations, and we have the idea, many of us, we have the idea, in a short time, I must accomplish a lot. In a short time, in a few days, in a few months, in a few years, I must achieve something.
Yeah, Reva Seati Puri, in a Reva Susan Drea Yunjush Reva de Sipachi Chikure Sipachi Imba Kanshila Reva Reva Sipa Imba Kanshila Reva de Chumbushina Tele Titsoguri Teneo Cargore Reva in Juve Tamlam de Tian Tetanshikuri Tinikat Neighbor.
We need to have hope, we need to have expectation in our life. But this expectation first must be realistic, first must be possible to achieve. Second, even if it's possible, even if our expectation is possible, then we need to think about the time. We need to give it time. Giving time, not only giving time, but also trying to know how to actually achieve your expectation. What are the methods? How does it work? We have to, our expectations must be joined with these three things.
Yeah, for example,
if you want to go to a big mountain and to a tall mountain, triumph.
Yeah.
So this, when we think we have the expectation to go to triumph, we check, is this possible? Yes, it's possible to go to triumph. But then if we think that, oh, I have to get there in 1 hour, then we have to see, is it possible to get to this place in a short amount of time, in 1 hour, 30 minutes, 20 minutes?
And
then we have to know the methods. We have to know very clearly the methods. If we just decide to go to triumph and we start running, we might not get there. And why do we want to go to triumph? Because we want to see the beautiful view, we want to be happy. But if we don't know how to go to triumph, if we just start running, maybe we're not wearing the proper shoes, so we can get sick, we can hurt ourselves, and instead of happiness, we end up creating suffering for ourselves by not knowing how to go, the methods.
Yeah.
And also, when we go to triumph and we want to see the view of triumph, which is very beautiful, actually, when we go to triumph, on the way going to the mountain, there are many beautiful views. There are many nice things to do, many nice things to see. I don't know if there are people in the internet, in the Zoom, who've never been to Dharamsala. Triumph is a mountain here. So yeah, so every step of the way, there is happiness to be experienced. There is happiness to be achieved. But sometimes we cannot identify this happiness because our mind is thinking, of the view that we're going to see when we get to the mountain.
mi mambo shil pen toya sosolia chik de chit toya maze mi mambo shil pen toya drup toya tindi shik yongaya chit tinga tsu tami muir chit ina tanda nima tiri tanda sosol nepam dili ya sosol di chit leka che gora di chit sosol lobjong chi ya tanda tindi tami muir tanda waya chit lobjong chi ya ane chik nima chik ina leka kare chi gana tindi chit yim sam gawa gomtana Nuyen Rivia, Tandani, so said, did you Tandani go to go? Did you say that some other
So our ultimate goal for us Buddhists is to benefit, right? To practice in order to benefit ultimately at the end, eventually to benefit a vast amount of sentient beings and achieve the happiness, the ultimate happiness of a vast amount of sentient beings and of ourselves to our ultimate happiness. That's the ultimate goal. But going to the top of this mountain, going to achieve this goal, we do our actions that we do right now, they are in order to achieve this goal, in order to achieve this amazing happiness. And because of this, this happiness, the happiness, it's not something that should only be experienced at the end, only at the ultimate goal. Because we're doing something that brings us so much happiness, that brings us so much benefit, that's so good, we should rejoice, we should cultivate joy, happiness about doing these things. We should be happy when we engage in these activities.
Yeah, so that's it. Kalon tiniji ka le ka tachi tanda chi it's a chi man chi ja and ro da chi yang chu so chi ta chi chong ja and ro tindi che ta mayim ba so lo kyong kar chi wen ta kalon sa bu mu ya ko jin san ba shi na so ni ma chi ne ka ro chi kar in e chi wei chu ro it's na de chi tanda ni go chi cha so
by identifying what we are doing. For example, if we look at the world, at the actions of many people, there's war now happening in the world, there is business, there's so many other actions that cannot be, maybe are not so virtuous. If we look at what we are doing with a virtuous motivation, for a beneficial purpose, that should bring us a lot of happiness, that we are able to engage in these activities, that we are able to do this ourselves. And during our lives, we all have different lifestyles. We have different lives, and we can meet many problems as we work in the world, as in our career, etc.
Yeah. Tadi kangai mambo ji choyong re kangai to ani kangai choya de chi de karasena. So leka de garvi che de lego yoga de hama kwani. Yeah, the money laya de monji ta kise na chi so de che che de insena. So mese de nyimbo de mui guban de chi na. So leka de di she tra ta. De chi yong che de leka che ko ta. Ta chi chong ja go yo na ta. Na ni ku gen che go yo na ta. So leka kana che go yo na. So mese nyimbo de yong ai che tro. Nyimbo de di chi la cha ro ta de ma ta che cha. Then collega chair the teacher then Ganga Yongwemda, Kumonechina, Gagom, Joyce in the check.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so in a similar way, when we're going about, we have different lives. So many of us, we have to work, we have our career, and why do we engage in this activity? So we meet many problems. Yeah, we meet many problems doing these activities. And why do we meet these problems? Mainly, one of the causes is not identifying, not being clear about why you are engaging in this activity. Because if we ask ourselves the reason that we are the purpose, the goal that we have by doing all these activities, engaging in business, being a teacher, etc. All of this is for happiness, for us to accomplish happiness. So if we think that we can accomplish happiness with these activities, we shouldn't see these problems as suffering. We should feel joy engaging in activities that we're doing to bring us happiness. Yeah, hope it was clear.
아니 다til koran musin nimachik koran ta nimachik samlatona le kan chi kamle ta kanga ro samsana kanga chiteonde kanga demone chena kanga chunjuji na sosobite chunjin ba matsur te be chunguji ya koran anje kan yo ba de ta masu joji ni ba de na kanga ri I kangla ya kanga te kanga chidang koran chunjuji na ya sosobite be chunguji tone te kanga te tatang mo mashi kanga monsen tang te noro chizu tepe chumuzani sososo kanga chide.
And many times in our daily lives, many types of problems that come to us daily, they're actually, if we look, they're actually small problems, but we don't feel them like this. That's not the feeling we have to these problems. They appear very big to us. They appear as very big problems. And why do they appear like this? Because we don't know how to look at these problems. We don't know in which perspective, in what way to look at this problem.
Yeah, then namji tinishi lab ta kanta kanga kanden shi na ya. Del ta ni bo shuji ma ta si. Des ta range ta ko res. Ta range ta tona ani ko chik korangi chetsen do sinanda korangi cho yong chi tong do res.
Something I like to think and say is when we have a problem, we shouldn't look at it very close up. We shouldn't be very close to the problem. We should try to see it from a distance. And if we can see the problem, the suffering from a distance, then we can see more sides. We can look at it from different perspectives and have a more holistic view of the suffering. For example.
Machashura, do Alvindosa, Dele Chunjim to Chinjish. Not do Chinjishi in a bed, so bad. I mean, color that bed. Make a titil, shows it's a kill now. But Dutch shows him a
For example, if we have a very small rock, I'm going to use my hand because we don't have a rock close to us. If we have a very small rock and we look at it from very close up, if it's very close to us, then it appears as a huge rock. It appears as a very huge rock. If you look at it from a distance, then it doesn't appear so overwhelming.
Yeah. Direction. So go like do chungu chungu thoya de dunle thongore de gang le de ta jenon de nyam de le ta ko di so gang ma sa yin go so samrish direction de yam chapachi ta kare.
And not only the distance that we keep the stone, this rock, we not only keeping it in a close distance, making it appear big, but also the direction. So we put the stone on top of us. And then with the stone being on top of us, becomes fear. We are afraid that the stone might fall in our face.
Yeah, take courage na susu dunle yona do chumuji dona korma sasune susu gang la zaya jina de yoma.
If the stone, even if it's big, the stone, if it's in front of us, we're not afraid because if it falls, it doesn't fall in our face.
Yeah. But if
it's on top of us, then we have the feeling that if this falls, then there's a big harm to me. It's going to hurt me a lot. So in reality, it's a small stone, but it's close to you. And even if it's close to you, And it's like this, because it's a small stone, even if it falls, it doesn't harm you that much.
Yeah. That they carresone, Samson was a ganga chunjina, ganga chunjula, tatang de, tiny bush, ganga shujin, but that, chumbushin, but tiny bush, chicta. Chicha was a sosoria, but the all about Sindria. So the ganga the all event, ganga the social shoe nova. Taki do chimbush, the do the all sosoria tan, chansona, the ganga mons, so when it's a chick ganga to chinjina. So
in a similar way, not only we can have the habit of keeping the problems very close, looking at them from a very close distance that makes them the small problems appear as very big problems, but we also go underneath the problem. We go underneath the problem, and then we create more problems because now we are afraid of this problem on top of us.
Yeah. Tadi kola kazangola nge pension jisha tse pena michike so la control zaya tsikchilamna so yana chen donge du tishla chash ngase lamsa semba ma cha chikche ta tambo ko la de tsikter pe chunji shire the country semba ji tambo semba ma cha cha de shui mari chunji shire ta yana di jile ta di ko 가르치는 거 같아 라고 요래 pe so di kang nembi mambo jamne 강한 체르체르 방법 여기 또 친구들이 친구 줘야 나시 또 친구들이 직접 당직 마시는 소소 먹지 도와내면 친구 소비도 된다고 딱 거기만 가르치려고 해야 돼 라고 인생데 이사를 직전에 거 막아 직다 소소 인생 마음보지야 신 친구 체르체르 당데 소소스 듣고던 거 여러 마도 파쇼디 미드레모다 하니 소소디 간 엔자지.
So in a similar way, let's take an example that someone criticizes us. So someone comes to you and say, hey, you're ugly. So it's a very, very small thing this person has said. Or maybe the person says something a bit worse than this. But yeah, you're ugly. Small thing, and that makes us uncomfortable. It has some harm to us, so it's a problem. But it's just these words, you're ugly. But then this person leaves, we go home, and we start to think. We keep this very close to us. We keep this very close to us, and we start thinking, why did this person say this? Oh, maybe this person thinks that I'm like this. Oh, maybe this person who does this person think that she is? And then this problem starts to appear as bigger and bigger. The fact that this person said you're ugly to you, it starts to become bigger and bigger.
Yeah, 또 친구는 따당 광원에서 친구지나 so 따당다 된다고 그랬다. direction에 당가니 그거 친구들이 제일 따야 돼.
The direction and distance dil라.
the distance 직체 강내디 꼭때 소소 강내 충분히 배 줘야지. distance. 되니 가르치려고 그래서 direction에 당. 대티 강이
Yeah, so in this example, keeping the thought what the person said close to you, with you, is making this bigger than it was. So it's experiencing the problem, the criticism as something bigger, and the direction, the perspective that you look at it, the perspective that you look at a situation is similar to keeping yourself under the suffering, under the rock. Yeah.
되게 그 찔랍셔야 돼. 측대 아니 네법 가르치 강샤 마시 저런 거 아빠래요. 거기 나와야 돼. 배 빅자 쉬우시 강샤게 배 측대는가 주문도 선수 가르강 그 포지션 가제 강샤 마시 저런 거 되게 또 진실의 가제 강야 마시 측대
With this rock, or with this criticism that the person said, whatever bad words the person said to you, actually it's completely in your hands. Where you put this rock, if you keep this distance, if you keep it close, if you go under it, if this harms you, if this doesn't harm you, if this is not a big deal, if this is a big deal, that's all in your hands.
Yeah. 단도다나 간데레스 형이다. 당아스티 Aki ane do chinju ti leta muk ti lesha tiang gang la den ti ona gangai shi ta jikta da den ti legro ta ti le ma sa thar go yo counter kanga till torque. Round is toyala, Harche Gorizet again comes. It's cool. Distant Basha. Choyoni. The cars. Yachesan Tatoya. Yachesan Tatona. Susu kanga till Talo. Mambush. Susu distant, you know. And it in a capture the Kanistama. Agent Susu. Rawan Susu. Toyala Rawan. In a Rama may non Susu Panzuman is yet a mancha, Mansuran. Susu runs into the Kanagano Pansuran. And Rama may so Tipotan. Okay.
That's a English.
Penadilla, Kangachil Tana, Kangati Tana, and digital Rama.
Listen.
Chazan Rama, the Tanda Tindi Toyalea, and Geshe that way the kitchen was Geshe only distant. Then that on the Choyoni that way direction. Titana, that was a Rama to race Rama.
Yeah, but what do we want? When we face a problem, we want to be free from it, right? We want to be free from sufferings, right? And if we are free from the suffering, then we can experience some happiness. We experience freedom. We have freedom. So in order to be free from problems, it's very important to at first keep them at a distance. And keeping them at a distance means being able to check the different perspectives, to try to look at the problem in different ways, not only in one way, in one narrow way. Yeah.
Penang Benzo Shambado Shana. Choyoni. Yeah. Tatana Kangati Kaya Chinchu Chandu.
If we're able to think about the situation from many different perspectives, many different angles, then we can experience the problem as being small, as being the way it is.
Pena Pensando was a touch to some message Tamadara. The Legand was China, Chichena, Leka Yapo Rama, Kalayungro, Leon Lecarane, Lachati, Toya Maya. That the Nick of Namasakamachi, Machia.
For example,
Leka Chento, the company, the Chilekachuina, the Galian, called Gala Denke Mobushi Society, Kwazu Kachashi, Indian Kana.
For example, many problems that happen to us when we are working or when we are searching for jobs, sometimes we don't get a good job. We don't get the job we wanted. And then the salary we get is not as much as we wanted. Or we go to a company, we might get the salary we wanted, but we go to a company and the people on top of us, our bosses, etc., because of the way they talk, the way they treat us, that's also many problems come like this.
Yeah, that is so Gavlian. That was Taki Gonglishana, Shimoni, till the Chicago touch the Kangati. Telian, the Chick Simba Machia, Pe Kangati, so one so Simba stop or Chaya, Pe Machia, Chaya, Pe Mambojur. Money China.
And then because of these problems, it happens that our mind gets narrow, or we get anxious, or we get depressed or sad. Yeah.
From
one side, why does this makes me unhappy?
Yeah. From
one side, one reason can be the salary is small. It's not a lot of money. Or not the type of job that I would like to do. It's not what I would like to do. Or the person that, for example, my boss, my co-workers, they look down on me, they don't give value to me, etc.
Yeah.
But then we can come to our first question, like, what is your goal, your purpose in this life? What do you want from this life? Okay, is it happiness? Do we want happiness? And we can ask ourselves, do we live for the salary, or do we live to listen to nice words, for people not to say bad words, just say nice words to us?
tate guba de karre tanda teso 저런 그 메시지 님보다 저런 그 라차 약보들에 외세나 또 드레마선 한번 공부해 가지고 메시지 소소 배 집보지 데이터야 sempre 집보 좀 대치소야 들어봐 라차데 라차 약보도 대치 라차 약보지 그 대치 다 라차 약보도 대치 바차스 대치 라차 약보도 다 라차 약보지는 대치 연구를 해서 연구를 거다.
Okay, so yeah, so we can see we have analyzed that what we want from this life, the fundamental thing is happiness. And with the salary, we can ask ourselves is if a good salary is what would bring us this happiness.
Yeah, that the kasalacha yapojirana the chunang dechi money to tore to marese.
So if you have a good salary, can you really find, the happiness?
The karachana tamasoliana galia any dopasi chuni. Tame parva reva with kaya.
As we were talking before about expectations, which are similar also to desire, they are without a limit. Yeah.
They only that nambi tatungana choshi basit.
So in Buddhism,
only choshi basati so tadi nepavina didi so and the Simba Yutsambo che Yutsambo in so satisfied. Simba chase on the own till a gun and Patsenche Goma Kachi Gomar. Come yobati susole and the Simba like Tigi and Kiposo Tokorela.
Kiposo
Tokori, this what to go where one is enough. They told me didn't pay. Come at home. Oh, that society.
So because of this, because of the desires being endless and without a limit, in Buddhism is emphasized the role of contentment, of being learning to be satisfied. And this contentment, cultivating this contentment, basically tells us that learning to be happy with what we have, and learning that what we have, which might not be what we expect, what we desire, what we have has the power to bring us happiness, which is what we want.
Dopa usually Jushan Kangajimoto, they were Sahani on Cromer, Dopa changing children. Mase Koran Kanga not over. In a dark as at Kayopati eat some bochik che, the sort of the sorta, the money did pets over your time.
And if we're not able to train in this contentment, if you're not able to be satisfied, if we have no satisfaction, then even if we accomplish our desires, the more desires, expectations, they have no end. If we don't learn to have this satisfaction, this contentment, just following the desires, this never brings happiness. And on the other hand, if we're able to practice this satisfaction, that can lead to more happiness.
Yeah. When Doba which
not only following the desires and following the expectations, they are not able to bring us this happiness, but also they bring suffering, they bring problems.
Yeah. The country Cheturisana, Tande Susu Kayoba, Shiongore, Panjore, Chisoso as a power neighbor Samadi. Michul Turkandana Susu, Jota Katseore, Susu Nepam Manke Katseore. Kosula Teneta Susu Bear, Shucha Dura. In a Dangas de Togmar, Katin, Yacha. So chick the mother, Cho Shampatizani Matsur. And they can't.
And how does it happen? If we look from many different perspectives, our our education, our knowledge, our financial situation, the condition of our body, our health, etc. If we look towards people there's so many people who have it less than us, who are much worse than us with this, and if we compare ourselves to them, we can feel that, oh, I'm not so bad. Actually, I have already quite a lot. But that's not how many of us work. We look only up. We like to look up to the people that have more and more, and we feel like we don't have enough yet. So if we can look at both ways, not only just looking down either, but if we can look at both ways, that's one thing that can be called the middle way.
Yeah,
the middle way, being balanced in the sense.
Yeah. And that country chene was the baril rogo is at the cover. Tan samsal kanga roche, the young Simba Macho shop, Simba. Tayan Chochini, Kanga Mamboji, Simba Majum, the Kanga Chiche, young Kanga Mambos taking on Jesus and Margiata. Young chick, Tangeta Yapushi, Pancho Chumbo in Sansa. Tea Ganga Kanga Kanga Yonton, Cho Mamboji.
And then Chompo Young directed.
The
Christian as a killer, And why do we need to stay at the middle? Why do we need to look at all all directions, both directions? Because if we only look up, if we only cultivate these high expectations and desires, only look up, then we have a low self-esteem, comparing ourselves only to the upper side. Low self-esteem, the mind goes down, depression, etc. But if we're only looking down, like looking down on people, then we can start to cultivate arrogance, pride, arrogance. And that also brings a lot of problems, sufferings in life. So in order to balance, we always look at more perspectives.
Tachik Nambishung Kanikashana, and the Tachikana, Nambasu Koyere, Shirab said the Pechutango Grace. Shirab Pechutango is a Takikanamasi, should they attend? Show you only Tagore.
Maybe you have heard many times in Buddhism, that's a sentence that's used constantly. You need to use your wisdom. You need to always have wisdom as your friend. And what does it mean, this wisdom? This wisdom is exactly this, being able, having the capacity to look at the situations from all sides, from many perspectives.
Shirab Chigba Mayamba, Dinyam Tayang, Chik, Ane, Tabicha, Tataki Gauntlet, Tabicha said the picture.
And not only this wisdom aspect, then in Buddhism we also talk about the method. Okay, method.
Yeah. Then do not chick pakia. Then Sabo Gondona, Tunica, there is standard conventional song that I get on there. Shirab can Shira Tati, but Tombani to Shirab ya Tigdona, Shirab Nangita, Yakshir Sakura, they go here. Taina, Anichik Tabuchania, Tab Chop at your body, Sim Jesse, there. Taina de Tanamasu, Le Tambo as your Lamsa, the Yakshir the Yons in the Kapoyra. The Chandra was to pay you, Mama.
So usually, His Holiness, he talks about these two directions, right? Wisdom and method. This wisdom, what it belongs to this wisdom, if you go to the end of this path, at the end of this side, this is the wisdom of selflessness, the wisdom of emptiness. This is the supreme wisdom, right? And if you go to the end of the path of method, this is a bodhicitta. This is the supreme method, bodhicitta. And that's what he stresses to be very important. But we, as most of us, we are beginners. We cannot just jump straight to the end of this path. We cannot just jump straight to this. But what lesson we take from this? That these are the two paths that we need to work on. The side of wisdom what's related to wisdom and the side of method.
Yeah. That the kasha the share couple ya. That nambi jam karshi reason. Issue talks George share. So knees tango less. Issue talks
related to this, Buddhism, maybe some of you have heard, talks about the accumulation of merits and accumulation of wisdom.
So easy. Because that the
What's the meaning of accumulation? The two accumulations. What's the meaning of this?
Cargo race on the so samlo taginos be kangarish chevi kablia. Kangati ya ane Kangatilia say Tanam Chikario Zama Taginos Shirope Jotani. So teaching Kangati set on chick.
So in brief, when we meet with suffering, like as we have been talking, when we meet with sufferings, problems from one side, as we have been discussing, we use our wisdom. We can use our wisdom to clear away these sufferings, to eliminate these problems.
Taina Kangaji level cover Yamato Semba Trugdio, Jumbe, Samson Semba Shumnima, and Samson Carser the color, the hinge up of men Trugdio, Tindiju, that take Caricinias, Caricinasu, Sutur, is so as power door, Nipa strength.
Yes.
But
something that happens when we meet with problems, sometimes we meet with a suffering of certain size, certain strength, and what happens is that we crash down, like we feel very pressed by this problem. Our mind gets very weak, and then there is a method, there is a question on how to have this inner strength to support this.
Really, the Kotia, the much of weak the Podwin, the much of the Pod and Nepal shoe, Jogo Chadiana, and Kalaya was and all the cheap nutrition. You enjoy with the Poya Suashura. Tinder Tamas inner. Some look in Nepal, Jogo the candidate so
just like our body can be very weak, and then we change our nutrition, etc. We try to make our body stronger. Also, there is a way for us to increase our inner strength of our minds, increase the strength.
This
is why we have this accumulation of merits.
Yeah. Tati tonda karresion dirwa, tonda de pena tachi chichen na basu kor, and sonung sosai goni yanab dambas yet in the sonja, tabanamchi, this sanji rang koran rang, tomba rang sonja juish.
One way of accumulating merits, some of you may have heard, this is a way that Buddha Shakyamuni himself has proposed, which is the 7 limbs. 7 limbs?
Yeah.
7 limbs.
Tambo tinanglia, Tambo depina chancy Chansavasi, the Tonda Kares, Susu Lida Na, you single goni. The
first one of the 7 limbs, the first one is the limb of prostration, which means that with your body, speech, and mind, you show respect.
That means you must not top Savora, Namsan Jengro.
One question that can come with human beings, we are very full of, these thoughts. Very full of thoughts. So when we hear sometimes this prostration, immediately comes the question, but why do I need to prostrate? Why? Are we all the same? Why do I need to prostrate to someone?
Yeah, but indeed, let's see it. It's sensitive.
That's something that nowadays people can be very sensitive to this, to the idea of prostrating.
Yeah. Chikarezna, but also Zamulini on some of them. Chick that touching no tonton money, Tanda part. Penzamuni on Yapo, me mumble pentonke. Me money, Rendon Chambo, Yamlem Basin under counter, me mumble pentonke. Lekayapo Katse Mombo, Chuli Dram and only on chores. Choose at the Kemalena, Katsemombo Yunguri. This is how much it's Django, Jantona, that's called Pinto.
So if we see, since humanity has started, so in the many thousands, millennia, many thousands of years that humanity has been here, how many people have appeared in this world that were extraordinary, that brought immense, incredible benefit to humanity, that did works that appear impossible, people that were really extraordinary. Of all religions, in all religions, and also from sides that are not related to religions, how many people appeared in this world? And these examples, these like role models, it's what we bring to mind. It's what we can bring to mind in this moment. You can ask yourself, can you do exactly what these people have done in their lives? Can you do exactly what they have done? Right now, at this moment in our life, in this moment, we can never do exactly what the way these people that existed in the world have behaved, the way they have act with their lives right now. And what is the motivation that we have? If we see from the Buddhist perspective, so we remember the Buddha Shakyamuni, and not only him, but all the scholars, the masters, the ancient masters, the practitioners, or the people that have act to benefit ancient beings in an extraordinary way. All of these people we bring to our minds. We bring them to our minds. In front of us, as if they are right here in front of us. Not just this, but we also, as much as we can, we remember the things that these people have done in this world. And bringing them to mind, and also the things they have done, then with respect you come to show appreciation, you come to rejoice, show appreciation towards the work these beings have done. And from the deep of your heart, if you can have this feeling that what these people have accomplished, what they have achieved is amazing. During this, your mind, if you're able to have this feeling, your mind is going to be very happy. All the ruminating thoughts or discursive thoughts, they don't come at this time. What's the benefit of this? All those problems of your mind being stirred, your mind being agitated, or your mind being low, your mind being heavy. At this moment, temporarily, these things don't exist. Not only this, because you're rejoicing, because you're appreciating their works, you also experience happiness. And this also, at this moment, you're giving the nutrition to your mind, you're improving this inner strength. And
Samlo nebati, yeah.
And this is the function of this accumulation of merits. It improves your inner strength.
Yeah. There's a maze tachik money touch things upon the Tamama Shorterata, and it's also with Chatsi and Lida now using with Chatsi with Gable, so cheap on my so Gandramna, Sinja Tamjekia, Kosunet in the Chili or something. Dinning so that you could so which netting into which any, netting into which any could. Indeed, cannot kick over.
And not only when you prostrate, you visualize the objects here in front of you, objects of respect, but you also visualize not only you prostrating, but all sentient beings. You bring all sentient beings, and here you are in the role of like organizer, like the guide. You are organizing this activity with all sentient beings for the prostration.
Sama districtly at the like Java Chili some Colombia. Singing Susan Tangor, Sama Yamde, and it's Penatachi Penson Shana, Jim the Dashing and Gagania was your chasha. Again, the Cape Yawal and the chick Susan look tender, look sorry, can pay, you know. Tanimachi, Susan Zendoxi was Sama, Matsu Yamde. Again, to Gichendo, Yana, Yanachi calling Yambanda, Chixiade, Churongi Chinerichi. Sama di chetana di leka tsatsa churang samlan di leka yahu chito susam chito song susam
Chetup song, chetup song.
Jawa yahu cheo susam
Kiram.
Chonon di chengra symbol pe susolia simne dichilegri gana
So kiran dikshana kiran kigela kantishishelona.
No di ngai kardine churang ni treni roba sama nyam de chini leka di chendoshi karena di chila di 결혼에 생각해 되고 자자이지 배 된다고 단다 생지 통치 수수 이 냠데 되니치 이 가르펜토는 수수 셈스를 치했던 거 삼로에 봐.
So in a similar way, it's like, let's say there's someone that you're very thankful for because you have received all this benefit. So yeah, so like a teacher, let's say that's a very good teacher, and then it's like you're going together with all your classmates, all your friends, and you're going to the teacher and you're saying, thank you, please, I appreciate, thank you for what you have done, and rejoicing. And after this, you experience this happiness for doing this.
In a
similar way, bringing all sentient beings and showing this appreciation through the prostration, you also have this happy feeling.
다 직대 가려서는 다 차츠야 돼. 다 리가니야 소소 남결 그잖아. 즉 통보 많이 벗어서 막 기습적으로 뒤 가르쳐드나 리가 요섬강에 든지 저는 소소 맞게는 맞게식 처럼으로 맞게 총으로 맞게 든지 삼로 단 논교세는다. 즉 먹게 초대 같이 마 총으로나 샴바초대 그걸 콜레르.
And also when we prostrate with the body, right? The way that we prostrate with the body is going down. So we meet, we go down with our bodies. And what is the reason for this is to decrease our arrogance. And also relating to happiness, arrogance is considered to be a non-virtue. It's a state of mind that brings us unhappiness. And the more we can bring it down, the more happiness we experience. I have to excuse myself before the question because I need to go to the toilet. Is that okay? No. Just you. Sorry. 1 minute.
No, I think that's the question he can answer.
Okay, great. Please.
Geshe, not everyone here knows what a prostration is. Maybe you can show her what you mean by prostration. She doesn't know prostration.
Okay.
So maybe you can like show her.
Okay,
what you're talking about.
Yeah, actually, it's according to them depths. Main two different types of prostration. One is full, like our whole bodies can, The second one's half, just okay. But first we just, it's hand, it just is
maybe we can show her.
Hey, okay, you can, sure.
Like it might be confusing for her if she doesn't.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
know, like,
But just take couple yeah.
ah.
Okay, this half frustration. If full, you just full your body is kind of, Yeah, but yeah, of course, yeah. But each, how to say, frustration or, simple number.
The expression of the body.
Yeah. Tiri couple young sabla tanta matra yoku. So the lapa desha the couple, desha the couple, desha the couple.
So there are three ways of thinking when you do your hands like this, or like this. There are three ways of thinking. Can I just show what is a regular frustration? Yeah, and then if you do the 2-1, you do like this.
And the full, yeah.
This is one frustration. And then this is the half frustration, I think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Any question?
Yeah. So, Geshe, you were talking about expectations.
Yeah.
And you were mainly talking about the expectations we have for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But another issue might be that there's expectations from people around us, like our family, our husband, whoever. And we often have this wish to fulfill their wishes. We try to do what they ask us for, but often their expectations to us are not realistic and not kind. So how to deal with this?
아니 가가가 건속이래와 응원에 타는 법만말에 응원 그래 있으파래 네 아니 인간서 나나 공감하세요 나는 솔직히 나는 솔직히 그게 싶어 되기래
Yeah.
You can just tell him check it.
Right, that taking it and yamchik reva chumbu chayo mare reva that gana chuishi sarich don't choni ni chiksawata reva gogore ni bar gogore in a reva team hachik touch and kamar chikche young reva te young massa parvachin and kamara taina yon samson was a career yatambo churna.
Yeah, so just like I said before, with expectations, it's also something that we need to balance. We need to have expectations, but we need to know how to have expectations, and we need to identify when it's not realistic, when it's not possible, etc.
Yeah. Taina Katina Tsama Matsurevacha Tsama de Tambodi Yacha Tamba and it Kureva the room in Bagwe. Each when is the Tamba is a Tsama the Shikorazana Yakapores. Samson Matsu Penasoso Soso Deo Regina. Taku Reva Lecan in the Yapos Chit Toya Sosorashi Chumuja. Naku monetice nipa yome the master so much in Israel. What did you on the young desert and Geshe Yatamba Sama once it took it in the Kapori?
But it's also, of course, it's also very hard for us to identify all the time if expectations are in accordance to reality, if you're not putting them too high, it's very hard. For example, we can, being a good friend, we can see our friend and we expect, we have high expectations for him to do well at his work, etc. But maybe it's not possible for him to do well. Maybe he doesn't, maybe it's not going to happen.
Yeah, and I check. Right, but then the some cheaper than Mare, so and Geo, because was on the Reva Chimichavido. But so Reva the Samson. No, did Nipa Yore in Kosuriachi and Mashi Nipa Maya Conscience, Kosuria Shichimuja. Kosura Shichimuja, Susune. The Gangaya, Samson Ganga Chagdot, so Revati, Susalean Chimachuas, Kalsisana, you touch push or Chigdo. Yeah, that is all Takalawar. Didn't attach you that he was.
And yeah, and it comes to situation, for example, with our parents or with our relatives, people close to us, that in a similar way that we can also have this unrealistic expectations, they can also have unrealistic expectations towards us. And this can give us a lot of problems because it feels like they're pushing us. This can be very problematic to us.
Yeah, that day on the some layer, Tangaranto in the Ngamatua, Amani Kalora, in sick, Karza, River Chichimushi, which are some layer.
I had the experience in my life that my parents, before they had very high expectations about me.
Yeah. Taina nge leng kar jago yore rewa choro tsung rewa chisho tinto sena miye dia ku mes thesho ti yume mare inna ta rewa la rimba do kashi yona adine nge nyunyu chi tup thoye nge chi nge si ti lan jago.
And then I used to answer them, I may not be able to, you know, the highest of your expectations, I may not be able to fulfill. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But if there are stages to this expectation, maybe, you know, a little bit closer to the possible, I can try, you know, the smaller expectations you have.
Yeah, ne kapti kosole ya lendo tingi chetu marala ne kosope simba pound to. Taina nge kan tu chivi pe shora susu kan
I couldn't say directly like this to my parents, otherwise they would feel bad. So I would say, I'll try my best. I'll do as much as possible, like this.
Ina yang Geshe ja tamba zede tingi yung tuye ka ores. Ina yang chikon tutu zena yang korza te ko. Ti jili yang shira mambo malaya pe pentodo. Kati ina chik chapo chik sier pe.
100% I might not be able, but as much as possible I'll try. And this helped me maybe a little bit. Yeah.
Yang korzo we kati ina tindi push to ma yang meche le pentodo tindi lenjam na.
Yeah, since I answered like this, it was maybe it helped in them not pushing me all the time and pushing me all the time, because I said I would try my best.
Yeah, good to the
Everybody.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Yeah, honey,
any other question? If online, if there's no question, then we go have dinner.
You can stop.
You can stop. Thank you very much.
Yeah, somebody also tanda chik. Diri lom sendi nyeni, ta chik soso chik sim tets chik kaina. Nyembi kap chik kalung, tambo kalung re, tamba soso chik. Te ilop sendi chik. Soso ta kalung sena da, kanro sena chawa tes chik. Chete, soso chik pa maimba mambo chik pento chite yisamba.
So now that we all have listened to something, and we have, before we had a good motivation for this activity that we engaged, and now we can also again bring to mind that may this thing that I have done today eventually bring benefit to others, not only to myself. May this be good for other people too.
So got toto de shambashil pento che samba kulon zangma kitona di kulon di ansole katina de shikendo msena so influence sure yawi chole push.
And if you're able to from this moment onwards, the other activities that we are going to engage, the other things that we do, we try to make them only for the benefit of other beings. If we have this motivation, just this motivation right now can influence our life, has some influence in our actions.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Barry. Thank you, Maru.